know when you're in the present moment? How do you know? Do you feel any differently?
I feel grateful.
You feel grateful. Yeah, you have gratitude. Why? I mean, I could think, oh, I'm grateful for, I don't know, I'm grateful to be here right now, but if I'm off somewhere else, is it really gratitude? So how do you know when you're really grateful?
When you feel happy.
When you feel happy. Yeah. When you feel grateful, not think grateful. When you feel grateful from your heart. Yes?
I said happy.
When you feel happy. You don't think happy, you feel happy.
When you feel in control of your thoughts instead of worrying about the past or the future. When control.
Yes. When
The keyword
you
here is feel.
are in
The
control.
keyword is feel.
The keyword is feel. Yes. We're not going to think anymore. We're going to start feeling. Now I know this is another taboo in our society. Don't feel anything, and you tell someone how you feel, and they're like, I don't know how to deal with that. So that's another part of ourselves that we have put on the side sometimes. So the key word is to feel, not think gratitude, not think happiness, but feel, really feel it from your heart. So when you do that, what is different about how you feel than when you just think those things? How do you know? How do you know I'm really in the present moment? I'm not just saying I'm in the present moment.
It's your heart which tells you.
Your heart tells you, right? You actually feel your heart. This is crazy, but how often do you feel your heart? Not that often. Not that often. I'm imagining. Because the heart is also where we have some pain and other things. Okay? So we get afraid. If we go to the heart, oh boy, there's going to be some stuff there I don't think I'm going to be able to deal with. And so sometimes when we make the decision to be in the present moment, at first we can think it's a little bit scary. I remember thinking that the first time I got in the present moment, I was thinking, I don't think so. I don't think I want to be there. But after a little bit of time, it became a very pleasurable sensation. Because that can happen. If you've got some things that you've had in your past that you're feeling a little bit vulnerable about, it probably will come up. And it probably will feel uncomfortable, but it is very short-lived and it passes. And then you can have a very pleasurable feeling being in the present moment. So if that's a little bit frightening, just know it will pass. Because it has to dissolve in the present moment. It can no longer stay because the mind no longer has power to keep it alive. So we feel, right? And what else do we notice about ourselves when we really know we're in the present moment? We're not just saying, yeah, I'm in the present moment.
More energy.
More energy, yes. Feel more energy. So you guys are starting to talk about, we're not in here anymore. We're more in our body now. This is in our body. It's not in our mind. Remember, we want to shut the mind down. Not completely. We are thinking beings, so we do have to think. We are designed to think. We're just not designed to think all the time. We don't have to think about things that we've thought about every day repetitively that don't serve us any function, that we've done for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, depending on how old we are in the audience. Yeah. And we don't have to analyze everything to death because we think we're going to come up with the answer. And guess when you come up with the answer? When do you come up with the answer? When you stop thinking about it. When you're lying in bed at night, it's all quiet. Oh, there it is. So we need to get into our body, and what that really is translated into is the energy that we're using to think all the time gets translated into our body. And so we actually have energy flowing through our whole body, not just our neck up. This constantly thinking. So how do we get in our body? Any ideas? Body.
What exactly is your question?
Yeah, what exactly do I mean, get in your body? That sounds crazy, aren't you already in your body?
To focus on how your body is feeling.
Feel your body. You said feel. Feel your body. Yes?
Well, I said focus on how your body's feeling.
Focus on how your body's feeling. Do you know? How is your body feeling right now? I don't think I've felt my body for 30 years. First time I went to a counseling appointment, I came home hysterical because I was on the ground for the first time. And I had no idea what was going on. And what it was I was in my body. And I was feeling all these things. So you know you're in your body when you feel your body because your body is alive. And you might even notice you feel a little bit of sensation in there, a little bit of tingling. How else can you get in your body? There's a real easy way that everybody knows. They said yoga was something they do.
Exercise.
Exercise, yes, definitely.
Breathing.
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 Breathing. Anything that puts you on the ground. Anything where you feel anchored on the ground is getting in your body. Okay, why don't we get in our body right now? If you feel comfortable, close your eyes. And put your feet flat on the floor. And just follow along with what I'm saying. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, keep your eyes open. You can look at a spot in the room. And I just want you to focus on your breath for a moment. And as you breathe in, feel where you're tense in your body and try to direct your breath there. Breathe into that area and let it go. So breathe into that tense area. If it's your shoulders, breathe, breathe, breathe there. Hold them and then let your shoulders drop. So breathe in wherever you feel tension. Let it go. And I'll just draw your attention to your back and how it feels against the chair. Notice the texture of the back of the chair. Does it feel warm? Does it feel cool? Is it hard? Soft? And just notice any sensations in your body right now. Now draw your attention to your seat. Notice the same thing. Is there any warmth there? Any coolness? Texture of the seat, soft? Is it hard? Noticing any sensations in your body right now? And moving down to your legs. Feeling the top part of your legs, either on the chair or at the top, but the top part of your leg. Just noticing any sensations in your legs right now. Noticing whether your legs feel warm. Noticing if you can feel actually the blood in your veins in your body. Just moving down towards the bottom part of the leg from the knee to the ankle. Again, just noticing any sensations there. Any warmth, any coolness. Any other tingling or any sensations in the body. Notice how you're breathing. And notice the heaviness that you feel in your chair right now. Notice that your body is getting heavy, like it's a weight in the chair. And then bring your attention to your feet. And notice how your feet feel flat against the floor. Almost like they're very heavy on the floor, almost like they're glued to the floor and you can't move them. And notice the weight of your body right now as your feet are pushing on the floor. And notice if there's any warmth in your legs or your feet. And just notice the heaviness as your body relaxes. Heaviness as you sink into your chair deeper and deeper. Any sensations you feel in your body. And just sit with that for a moment. And open your eyes. Pay attention to how you feel right now. How do you feel? Relaxed. Nice. Are you in your body? Yes. Yeah. That's how it feels to be in your body. But But you don't have to do these long exercises. You could just even rub your hands together and focus on that. Or you could notice your footsteps on the floor instead of kind of being in here. Or notice whatever's in your scenic route on the way home is pretty dark, but maybe tomorrow when there's light and the trees are there, notice what there is along the drive to work or wherever you're going tomorrow. So these are quick ways to get into your body. And one of the things I want to point out is it's much easier to be mindful in everyday life when we do these little mini check-ins with our body than it is sometimes we do formal meditation. That's great, that's wonderful. And especially wonderful if you can do both. What's not so wonderful if you're doing formal meditation for 20, 30 minutes and then you're walking back into the chaos of your life the rest of the time. But if you check in with yourself like this on a regular basis, then you learn to be more mindful throughout your day. And it becomes part of your life as opposed to something you do on the side. So this is how it feels to be in your body. The second part of how it feels to be closer to the essence of who you are is to be authentic. Is to be yourself, to be genuine, to be authentic. And what does that mean?
No airs, no, don't worry about putting on airs.
Don't worry about putting on airs.
Honesty.
Be honest. Yeah.
Be real.
Be real. Yeah. So we can be authentic. Now, what does authentic look like? How do we be genuine and authentic? Does anybody have a situation they can share that they feel comfortable sharing? Either a relationship with someone or a dynamic going on with someone, either at home or work or with a child, that every time this happens, you feel awful. And you say, I wish that I didn't do that. I wish I did something different. Anybody have a situation? Amanda.
I will. I had switched with a lady for positions in an old club that I worked at. I did Life Fitness, and I completely regretted it. Every day I come in regretting, hating the position, just wishing I could go back. And as soon as I stopped regretting and just let myself learn the position, that's when I felt better and happier and started to enjoy what I was doing instead of being in the past thinking, oh, well, if I was still in that position, I would be able to do more. And it wasn't the fact that I couldn't do more, it was the fact that I was doing something different, which was hard for me to deal with, but I overcame it by just letting myself be myself in that position.
Okay. Yeah, so being genuine and letting yourself, not clinging on to the other position.
Acceptance.
Okay, thank you. Acceptance. Anybody have one in a relationship type of thing? So let's take a situation like that. I'm just going to tweak it a little bit in terms of a relationship because I think that you're going to be able to put the skill to it a little bit more. So let's say you want to be genuine or authentic in the example that Amanda gave, using a relationship. Let's say as a parent and a child, how many people are parents here? Let's see if that's going to work. How many people are parents? Or you could be in a partner relationship. So substitute one for the other if you need to. So let's say that when your child throws a tantrum, even if they're 7, 8, 9, 15, 20, 32, you just can't keep it together. It's just like as soon as it starts, you feel the irritation, frustration. You feel like you're gonna pop, right? You're gonna now yell, scream, or something's gonna happen that you're not gonna be too happy about. So one of the ways you can start to tap into your authentic power is recognize, which all of you are gonna do after you leave this workshop tonight, because you're already aware now, is be aware that this is one of those conditioned behaviors where I get triggered and then something happens. So once you have the awareness, you can say, okay, I'm going to go into this a bit differently. So a child's throwing a tantrum, regardless of the age, pick your age like you did. And one of the things you do is try to step outside of yourself, almost like an apparition of yourself. Step right outside of yourself and just watch what's going on. Just watching. It'll be very interesting. You'll be like, oh, that's interesting. Why am I getting so upset? So you might say that. step back, and it might be, that's interesting, why am I getting very this upset? And what is it about what my child's doing that's triggering me? Not what my child's doing to me, what I'm doing to me. So why this is useful is because not only it removes you from the initial reaction, that unconditioned same response, but it helps you look at the situation more clearly. And it also helps to take the focus off what someone else is doing to you and what you're doing to yourself. So, you get triggered, you step back, notice what's going on, then take a deep breath and anchor yourself like we just did. Feel yourself in your body. And ask yourself, how do I want to respond to this situation right now where I'm going to feel good about myself at the end of it? How do I want to respond where I'm going to walk away feeling better about myself? Now that's sometimes hard to come up with, and you might not know the answer to that. So one of the things I like to do is just condense it a little bit and say, if I responded to this situation with love and compassion, instead of unconditional fear like I have for the last 10 years, how would I do that? How would I respond that way? So if you asked yourself that question in that scenario, how might you respond? Yes?
Sorry, to look at the other person's perspective.
Yes? You might be, in that stepping back, you might be more understanding and say, whoa, my child is really out of control right now, they're really hurting, as opposed to you're driving me crazy and I want to get out of here. Yes. So you might, if you said, if I chose to respond to this with love and compassion instead of unconditional fear, I might go up and just hold my child. Might, that could be one choice. And probably he or she would calm down eventually, because there's a connection. I'm not disconnecting and saying, stop, I want to go away, I can't take this. I'm connecting, I'm not disconnecting. Or I could say, wow, you seem really upset, what's happening, how can I help you? That would be a loving response as well. Your child may or may not do what you want them to do. They may get more upset, or they may go, get away from me. And that could be fine too. But as you keep doing that, their behavior will change. Their behavior will change because it can't really persist without that defense back towards it. So what this is true authentic power, because when you, no matter how your child acts, you walk away feeling good about how you responded. And that's not the power of having a better car than your neighbor, or feeling like you have a great position and you're better than everybody else. That's a real authentic power where you are now making your personality align more with your soul or spirit or essence, and you're getting closer to this. Because that's what our evolutionary responsibility is to become conscious. So we make conscious, deliberate decisions about how we want to be, not what's happening to us, how we want to be. And we do that in the present moment when we are in alignment with the life force and we have access to that. Now, could you imagine in our world with everything that's happening today, if we had people in power making decisions in love and compassion, instead of how are we going to get revenge, and how are we going to get one up on, and how can we make our opinion better than theirs, and how can we show them that our religious beliefs are better than their religious beliefs, we would have a different world. So when we can get off the hamster wheel, right? The unconditioned automatic responses. Step back and watch what's happening. And anchor ourselves and say, how do I want to respond to this with love and compassion? Instead of the way I've been doing it for the last 10 or 20 years. When we can do that, we can make those decisions that attract what we want in our life. So that's where we want to be. We want to be in alignment with this, because this is where we're going to have our true lasting happiness and peace. And this is where we get more than we have. We cannot think ourselves out of any problem. There's probably been no Nobel Peace Prize that was awarded because someone thought the answer. They got the answer. They got the answer by being quiet. So when we can get within that part of ourselves, we're integrating our personality with our soul. We're taking deliberate action to be more authentic in our life. And we're also having peace, meaning, balance, fulfillment, and happiness, or I might call that joy in our life already, because we already have that. We're already enough. We already have that. We don't have to look for that. Once we stop reacting to the mind-made story, and we recognize that we are much more than that, we are already there. Any questions? There's a lot of pondering going on.
I think it also depends on your frame of mind, like when you're dealing with different people, you know, if you're tired or you're just
Yeah.
had a bad day or something. I mean, in 20 years, well, that's not true. You act differently on every given day with different people all the time, you know.
Yes. So there are times when you're more with yourself
Yeah,
than,
sure.
than not with yourself. Yes, for sure.
So when you're dwelling over something, and you're saying, okay, when you're driving, or you're taking a walk, and you're looking at the trees, and you're yes, you can look at the trees and say, or the flowers, say they're beautiful, but then my mind will still, like, I still have that in the back of my mind. So how do you really turn your, like, is that just practice? Just by every day going out and trying to, like, how do you do that? I mean, because it's always in the back of my, you know, whatever it is I'm thinking about, it's in the back of my mind. I may be looking, seeing that's a beautiful scenery, but
Yes.
there's somebody in the back of me, blah, 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 you know.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. I don't know if other people can relate to that. When you really try, you still have, it's almost like, and you can't beat yourself up because that's just the exact opposite of what you're trying to achieve, but you want to sometimes.
Right.
So you hear that, you're like, oh yeah, I see the trees, la 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 la, I see the trees, I see the trees. So that's different than being in the present moment. It's like trying to think yourself into the present moment. You're not really there. And the way you know that you're there is you feel your body. So you feel. So say, okay, I'm going to feel. So one of the things you can do is say, I choose to be here right now. Mind goes, I choose to be here right now. Mind goes, I choose to be here right now. Just say it as many times as you have to say it to start feeling. And then it might just be 30 seconds. And you say, oh, I didn't think about anything else but my driving. And it might be another 10 seconds the next time or a few times after that. And then you get some control over it. Because at first it feels like it has control over you. And you don't have control over it. So it's practice. And it's deliberate practice.
Yeah.
So we're talking about living on purpose, right? We're living mindfully on purpose. In the present moment on purpose with deliberate action. So we have to actually take that action. Other questions? No? Okay, tell me something you'll take away tonight that you'll think a little bit more about. Do you want to say something, Kate? You look like you're on the verge.
I just,
She's on the verge.
I was gonna say my body as opposed to my mind, for sure.
Take away being in your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take that away.
I'm going to try and realize what actions I can take instead of thinking, into action instead of into thinking.
Yeah.
What actions I can take to fulfill myself, do all those things I want to do.
Yeah, yeah, take action instead of thinking, just thinking it through. Yeah, excellent. Other things you might take away, yes?
For someone who has trauma, is this mindfulness help, or should there be another strategy which is more effective?
So the question is, if someone has trauma, does mindfulness help? I believe that mindfulness is probably the most powerful way to deal with trauma. And the reason is because whatever happened to the person in the past that's traumatized them, they're identifying with. They've attached to it as the story of who they are. Remember we talked about the story? So they're carrying around the story and they're defining themselves as a victim and not recognizing that they are much more than that. They're already perfect. They're already in their own essence beautiful, but they can't see that because they're trapped in the story of the trauma. So it's great for trauma, and actually it's interesting when people who do come with trauma issues to counseling, when they do this, they find great relief. Because they don't have to go through the past and rehash all that. They don't have to talk about it, tell you all the details. You don't have to do that. With mindfulness, as soon as they're in the present moment and they disidentify with that, it's not who they are. It's just something that happened to them. And they can leave it in the past. Other questions? Yeah.
Question, please.
Yes?
What do you think, 100 years back, were people in general more mindful?
More
How about
mindful.
1,000 years back?
1,000 years back. Yes, because we had a balance of thinking and doing. And then we came into the age of reason, and we got this message that we could reason our way out of everything and anything, and we just started thinking our way into
Which is not true.
everything.
Actually, you cannot do it by reasoning.
You cannot, but
Sometimes
the age
you have
of
to
reason,
believe something.
yes, yes. So
And
we
feel.
would be more.
The emphasis should be more on feeling and on belief.
And we used to do a lot just to survive, but once we started the age of reason, it was like, oh, we can think anything, we can solve any problem, we can do that, and we started thinking. If you even think about our schools today, there's a lot of left brain energy going on, a lot of mind energy, not a lot of hands-on, some creativity, but certainly not a balance. So it already raised people to be overthinking. Yes. Yes. Yes.
When you see something happen, like an accident, something bad happen to someone you know and someone you don't know, how would you react and respond? I don't know how should we respond or how should we react to that situation?
Yeah. What kind of accident do you mind me asking? Like, what kind of accident do you mind me asking?
Like a car accident, you know.
Yeah, and the
You see
person is immobilized or?
someone injured and someone died, and then how would you respond and how would you react to that kind of accident?
Okay. So the best thing that you can do for anybody in pain or not in pain is show up. Be conscious. Because they know that, and if they feel like they matter then. You're not looking at your phone or thinking about what you're going to do next when someone's talking to you. So when someone's either injured or not injured, the best you can do is show up with all of the consciousness you can bring right now, which is where you are. Everybody at a certain level of consciousness, that's all you can expect from anybody at the given moment. That's the best thing you can bring.
In other words, empathize.
Empathize, but just be. You don't have to have the right words, but you're genuinely there. A person knows that. They feel that. I'm sure all of you have felt that in your life. You know when somebody is truly there listening to you, or whether they're thinking about what they have to do in 5 minutes and hurry up, or their phone's going off. Oh yes, I forgot to add new addiction, cell phone addiction. The best thing you can do is just show up to the best of your consciousness. Yeah. Other question? Yeah.
What if you're in the moment, and in that moment, whatever you're feeling is overwhelming? Like somebody's going through grief or some sort of pain, emotionally, it feels overwhelming.
For you or for them?
For you.
For you it feels overwhelming.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're sitting with someone in grief and you feel overwhelmed, one of the things you can do is just let yourself feel that. And the reason is because a feeling will pass, a feeling does not last. You think the reason we don't feel is because we think it's going to take over and we're not going to be able to feel differently. The opposite is true. The more you avoid a feeling, the bigger it gets, because you're putting so much energy into avoiding it that you're actually making it grow. So even if it's uncomfortable, if you feel it, it will last for a little bit and then you will come around, it will dissipate. And you won't feel that anymore, and you can show up to the best of your consciousness. Yeah.
But if it happens for days, I think sometimes you could be like, you could be overwhelmed and it continues, not just for an hour or two, or it gets worse. You're worrying about it every day and it gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, when you try to avoid any feeling, it gets bigger. So just remember that. It feels better, it feels like a good idea at the time. I don't want to feel this, so I'm going to go shopping. But it doesn't work that way. What it does is it comes back bigger, it comes back bigger. It's like, imagine this, you decide you're not gonna eat ice cream anymore. And so you get up in the morning and say, I'm not having ice cream today. Get up tomorrow, I'm not having ice cream tomorrow. I'm not having ice cream, no, it's 5 o'clock, not having ice cream. I'm not having ice cream. Guess what's going to happen?
You're gonna have ice cream.
Yeah, and not a bowl.
Because you're craving it, yeah.
Maybe it will help, I'll eat salad today, I'll do this thing.
Yeah, yeah, start telling yourself that, I'm not gonna eat salad today. I'm not gonna eat salad.
Positive rather than negative.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But if you can't stop that overwhelming feeling, like you're saying.
Yourself?
Yeah.
Or for somebody else?
Yourself.
Like you're trying, but you can't
Yeah.
get over it.
Yes. We have a belief in our society that we shouldn't suffer but we are suffering because we're in this constant state where we're anxious or we're depressed or we're running from emotions. That's suffering. We're suffering. And we have this idea that we shouldn't have to suffer because it doesn't feel good. And our society tells you, if you're suffering, go do this, go buy something, or go do this, get a coffee, whatever. So the problem is that we don't embrace suffering as part of our life. We think all our emotions should be pleasurable. And if they're not pleasurable, well, I'm going to go do something that makes me feel pleasure. Right? And we don't sit through the suffering. But life isn't designed to come without suffering. And so when we do sit with it, even though it can last for a while, it will move through. When we accept that the suffering is there and is meant to be there, it will pass. But if we resist the suffering, what is the definition of stress? A physiological change, did you say? Yeah. Yes, can be, yeah. For sure, it's a physiological change. I'm looking for even more. Is it what happens to you? All this stuff happens to me, it stresses me out. Someone wants money for my car, they want money for this, they want me to do this, they want me to do. No, it's resistance to that. Those events are part of life. They're going to come or go. They're going to be there. But our resistance to, I don't like this event. I don't like this feeling. I don't like that I have to get my car fixed. That's what stress is. So what happens is we might be saying, we're trying to feel it's lasting for days. There may be a little bit of resistance. I'm feeling it, but I'm kind of not. I'm kind of feeling it, but I'm kind of not. So you just sit with it and say, okay, it's okay. It's gonna go. It feels awful, but it's also gonna pass. So you do your best, and you keep just bringing yourself back. If you slip out, bring yourself back.
What if you're like a hypochondriac and you're thinking, this stomach ache is a tumor, and the doctor doesn't see it yet, but I know it's a tumor, and I worry about it day after day after day. How do you get yourself to stop worrying about it?
Yeah, but it's not a tumor.
No.
And there's been other times when you've asked a doctor that this is a tumor, and it's proved so it's never turned out to be a tumor. Okay.
Or you have stomach ache and you think it's a tumor, so you go to the doctors and you get the test done and you find out it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're projecting into the future, right? At
Yes.
some future
Yeah.
point, you are going to
Yeah.
tell me that I have a tumor.
Yeah, it's like she doesn't know yet, but I know.
But I know, because who's telling you that? Who's telling you? Let's see how you did in this class. Who's telling her that? The ego. The ego wants you to think that. The ego wants to pull you into the future, regardless of whether it's a tumor or it's anything else. It wants to pull you into the future. And the thing you can say is, I know that's you, and I choose to stay here. Or, that's just a thought. That's just a thought. It's not real. Because it is just a thought. And that's the thing we're trying to change, is to stop those thoughts. Yeah. Good, great questions. Any other questions? Amanda?
So what if your mind wakes you up in the middle of the night? Do you stop? Do you train your mind to kind of stop focusing on your mind by focusing on yourself, and will that come with that it'll stop waking you up in the middle of the night?
Yeah. Yeah. I bet no one can relate to this. Okay, why in the middle of the night
You can't sleep when the mind is.
does the ego come knocking really hard? Why? Why? There's a really obvious reason after today's discussion.
That's when you relax.
Yes, and
Everything's gone quiet.
you're quiet. you might go over here, right? No. You don't want to live in peace and harmony. You don't want to do that. I want you over here. So it's going to do everything to pull you in. So what you do is you just pull yourself back, just like we were talking about. I choose to be here. I choose to be here. I choose to be here. And another thing you can do is feel your body on the bed. So feel the heaviness of your body on your mattress, and that will start relaxing all your muscles. But it's then over time, and you will never need a sleeping pill. You won't. You will learn to put yourself to sleep. This is not information that your doctor gives you about sleeping. You can put yourself to sleep by all of these things we talked about tonight, but it's never an option. It's offered to you. Yeah, but you have to stick with it. So I'm not suggesting you're going to go home and boom, you're going to have a great night's sleep. You have to stick with it, and once you get a handle on it, it's great to have. She's like, okay, I'm awake, great, I'm not thinking about that. Oh, yes.
I think also just acceptance, right? Like in the middle of the night, your body's just woken up. There's nothing you can do at that point. So just accepting that it's awake, and then to go into more of an attention, sort of focus on the body. And
yeah. That's a great point.
It's done. What can you do about it? But just kind of be within yourself and be in the present moment.
That's a great point, because what do we often do when we wake up and our mind goes?
We get frustrated. Worry.
Oh my God. I only have 3 hours till I have to get up with my alarm. We start getting anxious, right? We're anxious that we're awake, but if you accept, okay, I'm awake. No, I'm awake. Just lay here.
Take it easy.
It's pleasant. I'm laying in my bed. I'm going to feel my body and practice my mindfulness. Got time to do that. Yeah, and once you stop that resistance against it, you'll go to sleep. That's what keeps you up, the resistance against. I don't want to be like this, flip-flop. I don't want to think. And it just becomes a whole entity unto itself. Actually, that's what the mind is, an entity. It creates its own little entity that tries to lure you in. You can think about it that way, because to a certain point when it gets really big, it is an entity. It's got its own energy. So we want to shift that energy. Other questions? No other questions? Okay. So in closing, I just want to say that I do hope that you go away tonight recognizing that you are more than the story that you've created about yourself in your mind. You are much, much more than that. And I hope that you feel inspired to start to act deliberately from the essence of yourself, from the spirit of yourself, and enjoy the peace that already lives inside of you, that you have when you leave here today. And also that you practice having a little bit more contentment in your life every day, practicing these bits of mindfulness. And that helps take away and alleviate any moments of suffering that you have. So I'm really happy that you came tonight. Thank you for coming out and listening. I'll be here for a little bit. Amanda is from Good Life, has been happy to be part of this event. She's got books to give out to you guys and some freebies around some things over at the fitness center. So if you're into physical fitness as well, she's going to greet you at the door on the way out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.